Yo, what's good, people? It is Red Flag Media. Back again, this time talking about something a little bit different. I know we covered Las Vegas. I'm not really going to go back to that. I think we've really buried the hatchet on that one. This time I want to talk about the Flat Earth theory and the problems that present themselves when observing the moon if we were to believe the heliocentric model of the universe. Because there are several of them. There are a lot of them. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the moon landing and how we didn't land on the moon at all. There's just so much information on there. If you want to watch a documentary called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, or if you don't really trust people's documentaries or independent media, then you could even go to NASA now, watch any NASA video of people saying they can't get past the Van Allen belt today.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations. The moon.
So how did they do it in 1969? Apparently they got back from the moon and destroyed the technology.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
For some reason, I couldn't tell you why that would ever happen. They didn't land on the moon, basically. But I'm not going to dwell on that. Instead, I'm just going to talk about what should happen when we're observing the moon, or why our observations of the moon are not aligned with what we are told about our universe from NASA and every other space agency out there. So let's start. What you are watching here is a visual representation of the amount of active and inactive satellites that have been between the Earth and the moon since 1957, going all the way to 2016. Supposedly there are 41,000 of them, starting from 1957. Some being active satellites that we are using today, and some of them being inactive, considered space debris. Now, in this footage that you've been watching throughout the entirety of the video and that you are watching now of the moon, what do we not see going past the moon? Satellites, maybe? There's 41,000 of them. I mean, surely throughout this clip we should see at least one. I mean, if I did the math, I'm sure it should be more than one, but we should at least see something, right? I mean, something. No? I mean, we can see birds go by the moon. You can look at the moon for as long as you want to look at the moon. You're not going to see a satellite go past the face of the moon. And we should be seeing it all the time, but we don't. Moving swiftly on, in the same footage we can see all of the craters in the moon perfectly. The hundreds and hundreds of perfectly circular impact craters. Let me show you a quick video of the explanation as to how the craters got there in the first place. The official explanation.
The moon continued to be battered by other impactors, although they were much smaller than the objects that formed the largest basins. Some of the largest, most recent, and best-known impacts from this period include the Tycho, Copernicus, and Aristarchus craters, which are unique due to the complex system of rays that stretch out from the impact site. Finally, we arrive at the moon that we see today. Though the surface continues to be affected by impacts, the rate has slowed down drastically to the point where the moon appears unchanging to the human eye, as a permanent record of its own history, and a glimpse of how craters may have formed here on Earth.
So every meteor that's ever landed into the moon has landed into the moon at a 90-degree angle, so making a perfect circle. That's what we're saying. If what we're told about the universe is true, and that every single planet, moon is moving through the universe in a vacuum in outer space at incomprehensible speeds, then these meteors hitting into the moon would be striking at multiple angles. You would see skid marks, you would see valleys, you would see canyons being dug out because of these meteors having hit at different angles, at 45-degree angles, all different types of angles, but we don't see that. We see multiple circles, perfect circles. These asteroids are all hitting parallel, 90-degree angles, right? If the Earth is 4 times the size of the Moon and has a supposed gravitational pull that reflects that, then how are any meteors even hitting the face of the Moon that we see? You know, like it's heading towards Earth and then just kind of has a little curve around and then switches back into a straight line to make a perfect circle into the Moon. Does that make sense? All whilst ignoring the gravity of Earth? I don't know about all that, man. So look at this last piece of footage here. I think this is the last point I'm going to make on this, but have just a little look at the clouds around the Moon. See how only the parts of the clouds that are closest to the Moon are lit up? If the Moon is truly 240,000 miles away and it's reflecting the light from the sun, then why aren't all the clouds lit up? The light source is coming from 240,000 miles away. How can the light be localized like this at that distance? It really can't be. This can't be explained in any other way besides to say that the Moon is a lot closer and a lot smaller than what we think. But I'll let you make the decision for yourself, man. I'm just here to put some points out there and, man, get your noggin jogging. You know what I'm saying? I've never said that before. I don't know why I would say that. Alright, anyways, Red Flag Media, man.